Good morning everyone. I Shmiti Darji from Sikkim Government College Namchi, BSc 3rd semester, bearing roll number 20 NS0323. First and foremost, I would like to thank Sikkim University and Sikkim Government College Namchi for providing us this wonderful platform, and also I'd like to extend my humble gratitude towards our professor, Sir Dr. C.P. Khatiwada and Sir Pema Chida Sepa, who gave me this very interesting topic. And yes, in this video, I will be talking about Planck's formula, photoelectric effect, and Compton's effect. Without delaying, without wasting much time, I would like you to go through this video.
So talking about the Planck's idea, Planck's basically said that the transfer of an energy occur in discrete. Okay, this term discrete commonly used as well as discrete or specific values or continuous values in specific case of black body radiation. The light that emit basically has an upper limit because the electron that oscillating. Okay, remember that the electron is in the hot object is oscillating. The frequency of that oscillation is limited to a specific value, and amount of energy that the hot object is not enough to oscillate the electron to be very high frequency. So as a result, you have a maximum in terms of how fast the electron can oscillate before it drop down again, because at this at very high frequency practically no electron can oscillate at such a high frequency. So in the end, the radiation at the intensity of radiation of the level, that level is very small, very low. Okay, so Planck's equation is this, is equals to n h nu. Remember, n must be an integer which either 1 2 3 4 so on, but not decimal 1.67 to 0.29, 3.95 or whatever. Has to be in integer. It has to be multiple. Another what energy can only be transmitted has a multiple of this number. 1 times h nu, 2 times h nu, 3 times h nu, and so on. H is Planck's constant, experimentally determined, found this value to be 6.626 times into 10 raised to power minus 34 joules second. And is the unit. It's kind of funny units if you think about it. It's sort like measure of energy for given frequency value. So therefore, for a frequency value of a certain energy associated with it, it's something about, something that you might immediately have initiative understanding, but basically it's again amount of energy that you have for particular given frequency. Okay, how new? Of course, the symbol right here is frequency of the light itself that being emitted.
Now, when light energy in form of photon or electron strike in metal piece with sufficient energy, the electron are ejected or emitted from its surface of the metal. This effect is known as photoelectric effect. Now, let's see how this happens. A metallic piece is taken. Also, a source of light is present. Over here, when light is allowed to incident on the surface of metal, then electrons from the surface of metal get ejected. These electrons are known as photoelectrons because these are ejected by the action of photons. Now the question arises that light of any energy can eject the photoelectrons from the surface of the metal. So the answer to this question is no. Basically, each metal has its certain work function. This work function is nothing but the minimum work energy which is required by the electrons present in the surface of metal to get ejected from its surface. Fine. So the quantum energy or the frequency of the photon must be either equal or greater than the particular work function in order to have photoelectric effect. So here certain laws are associated with the theory of photoelectric effect. So let's move further in order to understand the three laws of photoelectric effect. We recently discussed the first law, which states that photoelectrons are ejected by a metal surface when the frequency of incident radiation become equal or greater than the work function of the metal. Here, phi represents the work function of the metal, h is the Planck's constant, and f is the frequency of incidenting photons. And we have already discussed the reason behind the particular law. Now let's see further towards our second law. Hence, the second law states that the number of photoelectrons emitted per second is directly proportional to the intensity of incident radiation. As one incident photon on the metal can eject only one electron from its surface, the third law states that the kinetic energy of photoelectron do not depends on the intensity of incident light, but it depends on the frequency component of the light. Now the question arises, what is the kinetic energy? So we know that sometimes the energy of photons is more than work function of matter, so the extra energy is utilized by the emitted electron as its kinetic energy. Now this effect Einstein photoelectrons equation is associated. Let's have a look. We know that quantum energy is energy of light particle, which is given by, and it is given by W is equals to hf. The h is Planck's constant, f is frequency of incidenting photon. This we have already discussed. The value of Planck's constant is nearly around 6.625 into 10 raised to power minus 34 joule second. Also the work function of this metal, which is denoted by phi, is given as h into f naught. This is the frequency of minimum this is the minimum frequency which is required to cause the photo emissions. This for sometimes termed as threshold frequency of the metal. Also the kinetic energy of electron is given by the difference between quantum energy and the work function. So basically the kinetic energy of electron is nothing but the extra energy which is achieved after subtracting work function from the quantum energy. So on substituting the value of quantum energy and the work function, this particular equation we will get kinetic energy is equals to hf minus hf naught. Also we know we know kinetic energy is given by half mv square. So this value also we get half mv square is equals to hf minus f naught. On transposing quantum energy to LHS and kinetic energy to RHS, we will get the particular equation, and the equation is known as Einstein photoelectric equation. So this is all about photoelectric effect. So thank you for watching this video, and we will meet in next topic. In 1923, Arthur Compton's scattered X-ray, this thing here where it say incident photon, these are the X-ray. He scattered him off a graphite surface which is called a target, and he observed that the wavelength of the scattered X-ray increases, and this was later named as Compton shift. So we have got the X-ray coming here, it hit a target and an electron get bolted out over there, and here is a scattered photon. So he is postulating now the photon is a particle, it has energy E is equals to hf. It collide elastically with the electron. Now you might recall from your mechanics that momentum and kinetic energy are conserved in elastic collision. So that means the scattered photon down here, scattered photon going to have less energy than the original one. Of the energy went over to the electron. So since this has lower energy, that means it has a lower frequency, it also has a longer wavelength. In deriving the equation for how much the photon wavelength is shifted, remember we are dealing with the photon, it has particle. Now you have to use Einstein equation for the relative energy of a particle. Now the energy square of a particle equals it momentum square times and speed of light square it mass square times and speed of light to the fourth. Now the mass of the photon is 0. it is massless particle. So this term here goes away and we take the square root of both side, and the energy of this photon, so its momentum times the speed of light, we divide through by c, we substitute in hf for the energy, and then we replaced over f with lambda, and we find out the momentum, it's h over lambda. What's really interesting about this is we have massless particle, now that was momentum. And if you recall from mechanics quantum, momentum for mechanical object large was described as mass time velocity, and yet we have photon with no mass, it doesn't have momentum. After solving the conservation of energy and momentum equation, and you have to use the relativistic version of this equation, since the photon move at the speed of light, the following angular dependent equation was derived. The wavelength shifted, which is final wavelength minus initial, is h over the mass of the electron times the speed of light, 1 minus cosine theta, and theta here is angle that the scattered photon make with the horizontal line that continues the incident photon is like this. So had it not have been scattered, it would have keep giving straight, but the scattering angle here is how much the photon was deflected by the electron, and of course the electron went off in this direction. So I think I have came to the end of the video, so I hope everyone got my point, and yes, thank you.